Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. And this week's episode of SmackDown was a vast improvement from last week's complete and total disaster of a show. But there are a couple of little things wrong and a couple of really big things wrong with SmackDown's Extreme Rules, the horror show, go home show, and we are here to bring the hammer down on each and every one of them right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown review and reaction show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
You know, I love the way SmackDown started out tonight. I liked the promo intros that kicked off the show before anything even began. It gave me a real old school vibe. It reminded me immediately of Saturday night's main event when you used to see the Hulkster standing there and talking about, well, let me tell you something, brother. We're going to be doing this and that tonight. And he'd have the whole logo in the background. That's the only thing that was missing was the green screen behind the guys with their own logos. But it was a cool way to start the show. What wasn't cool, what was wrong with those promos, was the lackluster writing. As always, that writing staff has just killed this company and killed this show. We had a lot of great wrestling, but as we've seen week after week, the creative and the stories that they're trying to tell are just absolutely terrible. Terrible. From SHeamus and Jeff Hardy to AJ Styles and Matt Riddle and everything in between, there is something wrong with everything that happened tonight. At least one thing. With every single segment, no matter whether you loved it or you hated it, this company proved on this episode that they know what to do. Like, they had good ideas when booking this show. The problems came in the execution and the fact that they didn't realize that week after week after week they are giving us the same exact matches over and over again. You can't just mix and match a few pieces or add some sort of a match stipulation and think it's going to make things exciting. They tried the best they could to build towards Extreme Rules, and they did do some things right, like making Cesaro versus Big E Langston have some sort of a stipulation that has implications towards Sunday's championship title match at the horror show at Extreme Rules. I hate saying that. We're just going to call it Extreme Rules. Screw the horror show. Every show is a horror show, and we know this. Okay, we know this. But Cesaro and Big E, they had a great match tonight. These are two big, hard-hitting human beings that are next level when it comes to wrestling. They really are. And this wasn't a show-stealing match. It definitely wasn't given enough time. The talent in this match deserved more time. The stipulation of this match, where the winner will get to pick the actual stipulation for Sunday's match, deserved more time. And you watch a match like this, and one of the things wrong with it is that you just can't fathom why a guy like Cesaro and a guy like Big E have not been world champion, respectively, at least 20 times over by now. I don't understand it. These guys are great. They are great. And if not for the momentary distraction by Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E might have been able to take this thing home, but Cesaro gets the win, which was the right thing to do. The heel should be the one to pick the stipulation for any match, because guys shouldn't give a shit. I'll fight you no matter what match you pick. You're the bad guy. You tell me how you want me to kick your ass. That's kind of how it's supposed to go. So I didn't mind all of that. But what was wrong with it is that we have continued to see it over and over. How many times are we going to see Sheamus? I'm sorry, see, that's just a natural instinct. Sheamus and Cesaro should be the team, but it's Shinsuke and Cesaro versus the New Day, whether it's in singles or tag team or six-man or some form. So it took away from having to see these guys in the ring again. And the fact that it had way less time than it deserved, big X's right there. There was an interview by Baron Corbin. Oh, there was nothing right about this segment. And it actually made me wrong from last week, I predicted to you guys that Baron Corbin was going to get involved in the AJ Styles Matt Riddle championship for the Intercontinental Championship matchup for tonight's SmackDown. And then they had this promo with Baron Corbin where he was talking about Matt Riddle did this to himself and AJ Styles is a good champion and this and that. Everything that he said and the whole reason that that interview was placed there made me believe that what I thought was going to happen. But they even found a way to make it worse. And it actually was made worse without the involvement of Baron Corbin. But we're going to get to that match between the bro and the arrogant jackass, as Matt Riddle called AJ Styles, a little bit later on. But it was just worth mentioning that Baron Corbin's interview here did nothing for anybody. You're talking about the most boring, most uninteresting superstar. I don't hate him because he's a good heel and he beats up my favorite good guy wrestlers. I hate him because he's boring. And I also hate him because he had tremendous potential, just like everybody else that came up from NXT. And whether it's politically driven because of his mouthing off in the back or his arrogance and believing that he's better than other people and some of the other contradicting reports we've heard about how Baron Corbin has been backstage, it doesn't matter. I don't care about anything this man does. Whether he did it to himself or not, I don't care. I don't care. It shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. This is a ruined and dead character who did nothing last year but ruin the beloved King of the Ring tournament by winning it, which was the worst thing that could have happened, and I thought for sure that was going to happen. We talked about all of that before, and I don't wish to continue talking about it right now. Cesaro and Shinsuke are then brought back. And what happens is they're here to tell us the stipulation that they decided to choose. Now, they had two options. It was going to be a steel cage and a tables match. Those are the options. Now, I don't really mind either one of those options. I prefer a steel cage. I think tables matches are dumb and are just an easy way for the WWE to book things like championship matches and have a winner and a loser without that winner or loser actually losing or winning. Because really all you did was throw somebody through a table, which is something that happens in almost every match. It's just a stupid match type that I was never really into. They use it terribly, and if they decide to change the tag team championships in this manner, with this table match, this Sunday at Extreme Rules, it's just going to be more of the same. Shinsuke and Cesaro could win, and the New Day won't look like losers because they didn't get pinned and they didn't get submitted, and it's just a bullshit, lazy way to go about it. But it's made worse because that's the match they picked. Cesaro and Shinsuke pick a tables match. Of course they did. We're not stupid. You're not stupid, right? You know, leading in from last week when SHeamus and Cesaro, again with the SHeamus, Shinsuke and Cesaro put the New Day through the announce table. I think it was Big E specifically. Through the announce table last week, or Kofi. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. But that's the incident that happened. And now this week, you had the New Day setting up to do some sort of a big move through a table after they lost this match. What part of those things makes you think that the steel cage was going to be the way they were going to go about it? None of those things. None of those things. Terrible, terrible, predictable. And one of the reasons Cesaro gives for why he didn't want this was because he didn't want to see the New Day gyrating against the cage. Bleh. That's what you're worried about? Watching Big E shake his Big E hips? You ain't worried about winning the championships. You're more worried about not having to see Big E wriggle. We had a moment of blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Because that's what these interviews, talk show segments are all about. Just a lot of blah, 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 blah. Alexa Bliss promised a special guest. A secret surprise for SmackDown. Who'd you think it was going to be? If you were an idiot like me, you thought it was going to be possibly Shayna Baszler. You thought maybe it was going to be Bianca Belair, because they don't care about the brand split too much anymore. But it wasn't either one of those two superstars from Raw. Her surprise guest was Asuka. And we wouldn't even know any of this for quite some time. The whole point of Alexa's little show tonight was to have this guest and whatever. But it took forever to get to the reveal of the special guest. And then for the special guest to just be Asuka, you see the writing on the wall. This is going to break down into an impromptu matchup. And it was a good match. We had a good match between the girls tonight, at least in the tag team section of the evening. But what good is it? What was wrong with it, do you say? Well, Nikki Cross cut a very good promo at the start of this thing. She thought she was the special guest. Then Sasha and Bayley made their obligatory Sasha and Bayley appearance on every single show, which I don't mind so much, but I have to throw the criticism down. I can't be a hypocrite and complain about it with Charlotte, even though every time we seen her, she was terrible. And we are complaining about it with Sasha and Bayley because it's just a little bit too much, even though what they are doing, for the most part, is great. Bayley has been a great heel. She's just like going off. There's something wrong in Bayley's head right now, and I'm kind of digging it. And Sasha is just Sasha. She's amazing. And the teaming, it's come together. Like it feels like it's one of the more interesting things going on. What's not interesting is when the WWE decides to actually do something right in this scenario, because this match, having Asuka and Nikki Cross facing Sasha and Bayley, which are two separate matches for this Sunday, is how you would expect a company to book something for the show on Sunday to build hype. This is a go-home show segment, if you think about it. But we've seen this over and over and over again. Only difference being, Asuka had Kyrie and Nikki had Alexa. And every time we seen them, they were fighting Sasha and Bayley. So what's the difference? Oh, big deal, Asuka and Nikki. It's the same thing. It's just another tag match. And the action here was good. This was much better than I expected it to be. I could have done without the ass-wiggling bump, where, like Nikki Cross and Asuka got the upper hand in this situation. They were definitely in control and beating the snot out of Bayley and Sasha. And then they decided to stop and rub each other's asses together. They were ass to ass doing a little ass rubbing. Why? You're fighting your opponents on Sunday. Don't you want to beat the shit out of them to make sure that you're going to win on Sunday? What are you doing? Dancing around like jerk-offs in front of Michael Cole and Corey Graves. What are we doing? Just to go to commercial? We couldn't have continued the beatdown? We got to act like a couple of idiots? That was not appreciated by me in what was, up to that point, a very, very good match. It was very good. Wasn't great, but by what we've been seeing lately, this was really good. Not that many botches. Maybe it's because Alexa wasn't in there. Maybe, I don't know. But there was just something good about the action, and it was better than most of the stuff that we've seen on this evening. The biggest thing wrong with this matchup is the way the WWE decides to go about ending it. And Bayley ends up getting the pin on Nikki Cross. Once again, Nikki Cross's shoulders are pinned to the mat, making her look absolutely useless. And later on in the night, we would be showing Nikki Cross once again, and she is going to be kind of playing that, oh, I'm a loser now. Oh, I keep losing. My family's watching me, and I'm losing. So obviously, this is a story you're trying to tell. But she didn't have to win. I'm not saying she had to win. You booked yourself a decent go-home segment that is going to push and put some fire underneath 2 women's championship matches. And instead of doing the right thing, which would have been having the match get out of hand, having the referee lose control of all four ladies who were just beating the snot out of each other, not listening to the directions of the referee, and have the referee throw it out. This match is over. I'm calling it, and blah, blah, blah. Nobody wins. Nobody loses. Everyone looks fantastic. Everyone looks hyped and ready for a fight this Sunday. Everybody goes home looking great, and us as fans can't say, well, this one's going to win on Sunday, or that one's going to win. You leave us more like, well, what the hell's going to happen? These girls couldn't get the upper hand on each other. They don't know how to book wrestling anymore. They don't know how to do it right. They were almost there. Almost there. And I would even forgive them. I would forgive them for the repeated times we've had to see Asuka and Nikki in the ring with Sasha and Bayley in one way, shape, or form, if they would have done the right thing here. But they didn't. They made Nikki Cross have zero momentum. And obviously that's by design, but as the number one contender, that is the wrong move. Because you have not at all, leading up to this evening, made her look like she has a chance once. Terrible decision. Leading into Extreme Rules, Bayley's got all the momentum. Is Bayley going to lose the championship to Nikki Cross? That would be a terrible thing to do right now. While they're in the midst of this. Or what, is Bayley going to lose and Sasha going to win, and then Bayley's going to be mad at Sasha, and that's how we're going to get Bayley versus Sasha? I don't know, man. It's too convoluted, and there's a lot going on that Nikki Cross almost can't win. And she shouldn't win. And if that's the case, she should have at least been made to look awesome over the course of the last couple of weeks. But she's just, like she said in her own words, she's just losing and losing. And it's getting to her. And now she doesn't even think she could beat Bayley. How are you writing characters like this? How are you, in a similar fashion, John Morrison openly admitted he's terrified of Braun Strowman. Even if you're terrified of him, you're in a match with him tonight. You're not supposed to let the world know that. You're making everybody look like chumps. And nobody looked like more of a chump than John Morrison. We'll get to that in just a bit. Because before we get there, we have to go to the swamp. And in the swamp is where we are going to find Bray Wyatt, as he is going to bring us an episode of the Firefly Funhouse, which was unnecessary to start this with that. And I am only saying this, and I want you guys to stay with me here. I'm not saying anything that crazy. But when you watch tonight's show, and you see cult leader Bray Wyatt, the old Bray Wyatt, Wyatt family leader Bray Wyatt, and you listen to this promo, and you watch, and it was very old school Wyatt. It didn't lean more towards his new thing. It was more, and it's been focused on Braun Strowman's time in the Wyatt family, so we're going back to that. When we were experiencing that the first time, it didn't feel that good. I felt like Braun didn't fit, and it was the Wyatt family. We all know how that came burning down from the sky and crashed and burned hard. But my God, looking back at Bray Wyatt's character, and when you see him as this cult leader, there is no doubt in my mind, that cult leader Bray Wyatt is greater than the Mr. Rogers / Fiend Bray Wyatt. There's no contest. The new Bray Wyatt, Mr. Rogers Fiend Wyatt, he's interesting, sure. He's got a great look when he's the Fiend. Looks very cool, much cooler than the original Bray Wyatt. But the original Bray Wyatt is better. He's way more frightening. He's more compelling, more psychological, more terrifying. And all he wants is Braun Strowman to come home. He wants Braun Strowman to kind of wake up. He told the world, I made this monster. I created Braun Strowman. And then Braun Strowman left me. And he says he's changed. But Braun Strowman sees the monster within him, scratching and clawing out, trying to come home. I loved this. I think Bray Wyatt's promos like this is fantastic. I love it so much that I almost hope they don't go back to The Fiend. I know it's a money situation, it's marketing, they're going to be selling masks and shit, and I know they're going to go back from this, and I really wish they wouldn't. If you guys missed that promo, go to WWE.com, go wherever it is that you can find it. Watch Bray Wyatt talk about Braun Strowman. Watch Bray Wyatt invite him to the swamp and talk about this match. And you can't tell me I'm wrong. That promo tonight is greater and better than every single Firefly Funhouse segment I have ever seen. And I don't know why they've ever stepped away from from Bray Wyatt and that character. They killed him. They killed him. And then he had to come back and reinvent himself when he had it right the first time. I really hope he goes back to it. I really doubt he will, but I hope he does. Now, what was wrong with this? Well, what was wrong with the promo? Absolutely nothing. Bray Wyatt was on fire. What was wrong is what happened after the fact. I hated everything Braun Strowman did in response to this promo. Obviously, he was listening. He came out irate. The man was enraged, and it is clear to me that Braun has Bray Wyatt in his head. Bray Wyatt is living rent-free in the champ's head right now, and you could tell in his actions. Now, initially, this feels good. Like, when you see Braun come out and he's all pissed off, like, that's what you would want, right? Because Bray Wyatt's messing with him, so you'd want him to actually have some sort of emotion. But the guy takes the mic and starts screaming like a... completely inaudible. I don't know what the hell he said there. It was very confusing. All I know is that he wanted Bray Wyatt to be watching it. I hope you're watching, Bray Wyatt. This is you, Bray Wyatt. He's pissed off. It's okay that he was pissed off, but that promo was awful. He says he has to go home and end Bray before Bray ends him. And in the ring this whole time is John Morrison just standing there shaking in his boots. And my God, poor John Morrison was obliterated in minutes by the Blue Universal Monster. Now, what's wrong with this besides Braun Strowman's ridiculous promo and screaming? John Morrison has come back to the WWE to be paired up with his old clown friend, The Miz, and be consistently embarrassed, and now tonight, squashed. This is a former world champion in other companies, a former Intercontinental Champion, multiple time tag team champion with multiple different teammates. And you're making him look like a Zack Ryder or an Akira Tozawa that mean absolutely nothing to the value of this show. And I don't know how you can do that to him after he went out there and stole the show with Matt Riddle, proving that he is worth every cent that the WWE gave him. He made Matt Riddle look like a superstar, made himself look great in the process, and this is the thanks he gets. You get squashed by Braun. And then, to make things even worse, as John Morrison is trying to make his way out. First they brought out the stretcher. They were going to stretcher his ass out. But John Morrison left on his own 2 feet. He fought. He didn't want to do that. The Miz helped him. And in that moment, you're not supposed to feel this, okay, because John Morrison is the heel. But in that moment, I don't know if he was legitimately injured or he was just selling. You felt for John Morrison. At least I did. I don't know if all of you guys did, but I know I did. I felt for John Morrison in that situation. Because how far could you have fallen? How much must he regret coming back? And now he's walking out injured. And doesn't even make it to the back before WWE shits all over him again and has Lacey Evans come out for her match with Naomi tonight, which is a whole nother ball of wax. Bam, bam, I don't care that you got beat by Strowman. I'm coming out here anyway. To you, John Morrison. And this match shouldn't even exist. This match shouldn't even exist, let alone step on an emotional exit of a great athlete and a good superstar and another guy on the roster that deserves much better than he's getting. Absolutely mind-blowing. Why they would do that to him after he went out there and really knocked us dead with that match with Riddle. I don't understand. Doesn't hard work and good performances get rewarded? Shouldn't John Morrison be gearing up for another match with Matt Riddle, maybe hoping that he wins the Intercontinental Championship so that he can get another shot? Or, shouldn't we be building up John Morrison? Why did we squash him back down so bad? I say we, they. I would never have done that if I was booking this show. This was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then going to the women to make it more terrible. And I don't mean to say that to sound sexist or anything, because that's not at all what I meant. We already talked about how the tag team match was great and the women did great. But here, this is a match that shouldn't exist. After embarrassing themselves last week in that god-awful fucking karaoke bullshit segment, Naomi comes out here tonight and she loses to Lacey Evans in underwhelming fashion, getting hit with a woman's right and then pinned 1, 2, 3. The one thing that I will say positive is that Naomi has a beautiful ass, and it's very large, and it's nice. It's so nice, in fact, that as she lays on the ground, like the bottom of her back can't touch the mat. It's weird. Like, it keeps her lower elevated. Like it. Anyway, we're getting off track because I got distracted by some big, beautiful, delicious bouquet. But aside from the gift of seeing Naomi and her gifts and her beautiful wrestling ability as well, I'm not just a disgusting, perverted man. It was just so bad for them to do this. There was no reason other than Vince McMahon's twisted obsession with blondes. Vince is probably as obsessed with blondes as I am with bootay and boobays. You guys know what it's all about. What a waste of time. What a waste of Naomi. And with the backlash that came at the WWE for that segment, to be continuing to build further things off of that segment. The fact that we had to see it again. They had to recap the segment from last week because they didn't make us hate it enough then. We had to see it again. Why? God knows why. Just like God knows why we're seeing more of SHeamus and Jeff Hardy. What has become the worst storyline in all of professional wrestling. Jeff Hardy's in the back, and he gets assaulted by SHeamus once again. And then SHeamus gives his standard every week, "You're a junkie" promo on Jeff Hardy. And there was just something really odd and sinister about it. And SHeamus was standing over Jeff and kneeling on top of him and holding his face against the cement. And he said next week he's going to cleanse Jeff Hardy. He's going to give him a cleansing. And I'm telling you this right now. Each and every one of you, pay attention. You can mark this down and write it if you want to. I'm telling you this right now. If I see next week or at any point going forward the WWE have SHeamus forcibly pouring alcohol down the throat of Jeff Hardy, I am going to lose my shit on this show next week. If you think I've been mad before, you won't see nothing yet. Now, I'm not an idiot, okay? And I know that if they do plan to do this segment, they are going to have prop alcohol. Duh. They're not going to shove Jack Daniels down his throat. However, the visualization of it, and his family and friends having to see it, and his fans having to see it, and him having to go through it, even under the disguise of fake alcohol, is disrespectful to him and everything he's struggled and is going through. I don't care how much heat it's going to get on SHeamus. He doesn't need heat. He doesn't need to be focusing in on a real-life problem that Jeff Hardy has been struggling with recently. This isn't like he recovered 10 years ago and we're just going back to the well. We had problems just last year. And putting that image on the screen will be one of the most tacky and tasteless things they will do all year. This storyline and feud between these two has been tasteless already. It's been infuriating. It doesn't need it. You don't think for 1 minute Jeff Hardy, as the babyface in the scenario, would have gotten over with the heel SHeamus if they didn't have all this extra bullshit about the alcoholism? Jeff Hardy is one of the most beloved superstars of all time. All SHeamus had to do was beat him up. Beat him up and jump him. You don't have to bring up the alcoholism. Talk about how you're jealous that Jeff Hardy's loved by the fans and accepted by the fans. Or maybe you hate the fact that he gets power from the fans. I don't know. Make it interesting. Don't make it about this. What if you put him through all of this and now he has a relapse of some sort? You're going to go, oh, well, it's not our fault. Yeah, it is your fault. You're putting unnecessary stress and unnecessary attention on a man who has had historically documented problems in this very same area. It's awful. It's friggin' awful. I hate it. I hate it with a passion, and I hope it ends quickly. I really, really do. We've seen more of Sasha and Bayley in the back talking trash about Nikki Cross, calling her a loser, telling her to go be a chimney sweep because, you know, she's from Scotland or because she's wherever she's from. I guess they sweep chimneys over there, whatever. And then we had more of Alexa and Nikki standing in the back, and this is where Nikki Cross was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this now, and blah, blah, blah. I'm a loser. My family watches me lose, and now I ain't it. And then she hears Bayley suddenly from afar and goes and takes off, and then there's a brawl between the girls. Too late for the brawl. You didn't need any of this. This is what you needed to do in the match, and then throw the match out so that there were no winners. No, but you needed to add an extra segment to take away time from other segments that could have used time to do another segment, the third segment on the night for Sasha and Bayley. Unnecessary. As unnecessary as replaying the same promos that we seen at the beginning from AJ Styles and Matt Riddle, who closed out this show tonight. And I'm going to go really hard on this because, first of all, this match shouldn't be happening. This is the second time we are seeing this match in 4 weeks. And the one thing I didn't expect them to do is what they did. What we expected, as we talked about at the top of the show, was Baron Corbin to get involved. Constable King Dickhead is involved with Matt Riddle since he's come back. They just went the wrong way with Matt Riddle by having him, again, against one of the most boring and unwatchable superstars the WWE even has. Corbin comes on, I want to leave. I want to reach for the remote. I want to go take a bathroom break. I want to go take a swim in the ocean. I will do anything. I'll go swim with 100 other people with no mask on right now, other than watch a Baron Corbin match or segment or interview or anything. But he's involved with Matt Riddle, and Matt Riddle's challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. Did Constable King Dickhead cost Matt Riddle the championship? No. No, he did not. Did we think he was going to? Yes. Why did we think that? because that's WWE's usual mentality. And it actually would have been a little bit more accepted in this scenario because you don't want Riddle losing clean. You don't. Or do you? Does WWE really not care that much that they don't see the error in having Matt Riddle lose already? I don't care that it was to AJ Styles. He shouldn't have been in this match with AJ Styles again. He shouldn't have been in that first match with AJ Styles. He should have been earning his way to the Intercontinental Championship by beating the snot out of Constable King Dickhead for the next 3 weeks. Getting him out of his hair, then maybe you move him on to a guy like John Morrison. Have him beat the snot out of him for a couple of weeks. And then he can challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, where at SummerSlam, Matt Riddle could be undefeated and victorious, taking the championship away from AJ Styles. But that's not what they did. It's not what they did. You know what they did. They fucked it up right from the get-go. Soon as AJ and Riddle were booked, Matt Riddle's career was sent on a bad trajectory. And now here we are, 4 weeks later, Matt Riddle getting pinned in underwhelming fashion. It was a decent match. The first match was better, if I'm being honest. And the finish here was the worst. Matt Riddle loses clean with a roll-up by AJ Styles. 50-50 booking if I've ever seen it before. AJ Styles suffered nothing by losing to Matt Riddle that night. Only in his own ego and mind did that even really matter. AJ could have taken that loss and then went on to wrestle Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan and anybody else for the Intercontinental Championship, while Matt Riddle simultaneously builds his way back to another match with the champ. AJ Styles could keep Matt Riddle at bay. No way, man. I'm not giving you another shot at my championship. I'm not giving you a shot at the championship just because you beat me in a non-title match. It's your first night here, bro. You're not even here a month. Go wrestle some guys. That would have been a great way to have AJ featured in this storyline. He wouldn't have to be an arrogant jackass. He would just be telling him, listen, you got to earn your stripes. Go earn them. And then I'll give you what you want. Then Matt Riddle earns it. He asks AJ for the title shot. AJ still turns him down. It makes it interesting. Sometimes when you're trying to be so straightforward, all you do is make everything fucking crooked. And that was tonight's episode of SmackDown. They had some good things in mind. But they didn't pull through. They didn't follow through correctly. Number one contenders losing. Matches booked properly, but finishes that were dog shit. Are you excited for Extreme Rules? Am I any more excited for Extreme Rules than I was before SmackDown started? No. Was SmackDown as bad as this week's Monday Night Raw go-home show? No. It was not. Was SmackDown as bad as it was last week? Hell no. Last week's SmackDown was one of the worst of the year. But we definitely need a lot of improvement because there is just still way too many things wrong with SmackDown. That's going to do it. That was your SmackDown tonight. We will see you guys Sunday night for the horror show. We saw you tonight for the horror show that was SmackDown. We saw you Monday for the horror show at Raw. If you missed that, you can go check it out right now. The link will be in the annotation up above. We brought the hammer down on that shit show. Just as we will be bringing the hammer down this Sunday with our own little horror show right here at Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. Now it's time for my call to action. You guys can do your part to help make us become one of the biggest and best, fastest rising channels in all of YouTube. We are about to enter year number 5 this August. It's going to be fantastic. It's been great because of each and every one of you. And if you are not already a Sledgehead, of Sledgehammer TV and you are not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now. Bash the notification bell with your hammers at home to make sure that you don't miss a thing, as we are going to do it big in year number 5. We got a lot of videos in progress coming down the pipe, but you guys got to be patient with me. I'm only one man. I don't have a team of people that I outsource my shit to. I don't have people that do my thumbnails. I don't have people that do my layouts. I don't have people making my logos. Everything is done here, in-house, by one guy. I do my editing. I do my script writing. I do everything that you see on this channel comes directly from these fingers. Even the theme song at the beginning of this show was written, produced by me in Fruity Loops. I'm a one-man wrecking crew, but being one man, the only reason I bring all this up, I don't want pats on the back or anything like that. I just need you guys to understand that all great things take time. And I've got some really good stuff coming at you guys for August, for the anniversary, and beyond that. I want to give you guys more, but it's just going to take some time, so bear with me. And I want to thank you all for being on this journey with me up until right now. That's going to do it, everybody. Let's get on out of here and enjoy this heat wave we're going to get this weekend. Stay cool if you can. Stay home if you can. But most importantly, stay safe. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, the most important member of the team. As always, each and every one of you, smash that like button, share this video, and that is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. And we will see you Sunday for the horror show at Extreme Rules.